unfortunately, the house is behind us. The roof's got ripped off, and the side of the buildings of next door, and
Welcome, everyone, to the Driving Vision podcast brought to you by the Zeigler Auto Group. And here with me, Auto Group Director of Talent Development, Mike Van Ryn. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Sam.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, like it if you do, and leave a comment. Hey, everybody, to our Driving Vision podcast public. We're repeating last week's episode in which our Zeigler-sponsored NASCAR race car driver Carson Hocevar talks about his experience with the tornado in Portage, his family, and how they were impacted. And then our big event this Wednesday night beginning 6:30 p.m. at Zeigler Motorsports in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Join us that night. Go to Zeigler.com to purchase tickets. $100 gets you in, and $200 gets you a meet and greet with Carson, a signed die-cast car, which will be coming in September, and the opportunity to give back in a meaningful way as net proceeds go directly to those charities that can best help folks in Portage. Look forward to seeing you there. Meanwhile, enjoy this repeat from last week.
Hey everybody, NASCAR Cup Series driver Carson Hocevar here. I was born and raised in Portage, Michigan, and unfortunately heard about the events from the recent tornado. I'm super proud to be able to partner with the Zeigler Auto Group and Drive for Life to come together to raise some funds on Wednesday, June 5th at the Zeigler Motorsports location at 6:30. We'll be able to give away a lot of fun things with things from my racing, but also too some good times. General admission is only $100, $200 VIP admission, which includes signed diecast of myself and the Zeigler Auto Group number 77 diecast, and a meet and greet with myself. Excited to be there and raise some money for the people affected in Portage, and I'm sure we can come together stronger as always and rebuild and grow even stronger.
Carson, welcome.
yeah, thanks, Sam. I appreciate having me on once again.
Carson, it's always so much fun to have you on this show, and you're so important to the Zeigler Auto Group and things we do out there in the NASCAR world that it's fun to catch up with you every once in a while. And we have something kind of new and different to talk about. So since we last talked, a crazy, unfortunate, terrible event happened locally in your hometown, which happens to be also where our corporate offices are located in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Of all things, a tornado touchdown, not just one, but they say 3 or 4 super strong tornadoes, and it hit really your hometown. Tell us what you know about what happened and how it impacted you and your family.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough for me because I wasn't there. I was obviously in North Carolina, just done with a simulator session, got home and had a few tweets about it, hoping that I was staying safe or hoping that I was not in Portage of my hometown, right? Yeah. So I was like, man, this is, I'm so I called my mom and, I called her and was on the phone and she, just was getting out of the basement. She's like, oh, hey, we just got a tornado and, tornado watch and everything, but the sun's out now and, everything's all good. And she's like, oh, your dad's calling me just to make sure everything's all right. But yeah, we're fine. And then I got a call back right away from mom and I'm like, okay, well, I know she at least talked to dad, right? Because but I'm like, man, it's it started scaring me a little bit. And got on the phone and our family business on West Edge got hit pretty hard, and then it started to realize the severity of it. Now all of a sudden I'm checking Twitter nonstop. I'm looking up Portage online. Just trying to find everything. I'm calling all my buddies and how I the cell service was knocked out. I'm sure for most everybody in Portage, but I know my family was struggling to get a hold of me, and I was struggling to get a hold of them with all the cell service. So I hadn't seen any video, and unfortunately, the house is behind us. The roof's got ripped off, and the side of the buildings of next door, and our roof got really torn up. And I'm like, man, and obviously mistranslation, as far as I was concerned, all the windows were blown out. My dad's truck's upside down. The gutters completely, miles away and the roof's completely open. So I'm freaking out now because I'm like, I don't know what's real, what's not. And fortunately, I was on the phone with my buddy and he's watching the news and saw it and, sent me a video of it and luckily everything was all right, and most importantly, everything was safe. And they started rebuilding and everything. But for me, it was scary at first. As humans, right? We're
Yeah.
scared for our family first. But then too, you start to see other pictures of the FedEx building and all these other buildings and businesses. I know that pizza place, the local pizza shop, and I mean, just buildings ripped from the ground that you wouldn't even know. I showed a handful of pictures to my team, and they, I know there was a building there, but they, they're looking at it and they're like, what's different? I was like, there used to be a building here, and
there was something there.
there was something there, and that part was the most wild. And I looked into it for a while, and it doesn't seem like there was any really reported deaths or anything.
No.
Which obviously was huge, right? And truly a miracle. I mean, E4, but obviously a lot of local businesses, a lot of people's lives were affected regardless of injury, right? A lot of families and relatives, I'm sure, to these families are definitely hurting. That it's a tough loss for the whole community, but luckily it seems like everybody was able to stay safe and seek shelter, and ultimately, right, these buildings either held up really well or they collapsed or struggled in the right spots, right?
Yeah.
But just shocker. I've never had to do that growing up. Michigan's not, I don't feel like, a tornado type of
There usually aren't tornadoes. Yeah, you have to go back decades to the last tornado, and it hit downtown Kalamazoo. Did some significant damage back then, but to have 3 touch down the way it did that night a couple weeks ago is just astounding. I was at a workout when the sirens went off, and somebody walked into our workout. They're like, well, what do you do? What do we do? And everybody in the room were all like, well, let's just keep working out. So we finished the hour session, and then I went back to my apartment at Greenspire, which the tornado ripped right through there, and was just astounded at like all the trees and the damage and limbs and trees through, roofs and roofs gone. They had a brand new building at Greenspire where it actually took the entire roof off. And I'll tell you, Carson, one of the things that is so impressive about this community, you think about Kalamazoo, you think about Portage, and just the people that live here, everybody came together in an instant so quickly to help. Like, there were people cutting down trees and wood chipping and guiding traffic and trying to make sure people didn't touch power lines minutes after the storm. And then as I'm trying to get into the apartment, this is about 20 minutes probably after it struck, the tornado alarms went off again. And cops said, hey, you got to get back inside. It's coming back again. And or I guess another tornado was about to touch down. And I think there was another one that may have touched down after that. So just unprecedented in terms of weather. And thankfully, nobody died. But a lot of property damage. And it was so cool, Carson. Props to you and your team. Instantly after this happened, your team reached out to us and said, hey, we'd love to help the community somehow. Carson lives there. His parents live there. We want to help. And it's interesting, a few days after that, the county entity that's in charge, that works through the cleanup with Kalamazoo, they reached out and said, hey, you have this connection with Carson. He's a NASCAR guy. He's somebody everybody loves in Kalamazoo and wants to see and meet and get an understanding of his success. Do you think Carson would do something with us? And I'm like, yeah, heck yeah. So we aligned with a charity, and Carson, we're pumped to have you as a guest Wednesday, June 5th, beginning 6:30 p.m. Eastern at our motorsports store. And we're going to raise some money to help those that were impacted by these storms. It's interesting. A lot of this is covered by insurance, right? So insured homes that got flattened, trees that went through roofs and whatnot. But as you talk to the county and the emergency folks, there's a lot that's not covered. So trees on property may not be covered. There's a lot of homes. I was really surprised to talk to the emergency management folks to find out the large percentage of homes that are uninsured. And then just devastation in that mobile home park that it hit kind of towards the end of its path. And so we're super grateful to you that you're going to come out and join us. it's going to be fun to be back at Motorsports. You haven't been there since we made the announcement last fall. So what are your thoughts about coming to Kalamazoo for this charity event and to raise some funds to benefit people impacted by the tornado?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, right? I wanted to reach out right away. I called my team that kind of handles the behind the scenes for me. I was like, hey, like I really want to do something. I'm sure, as generous and as connected as Zeigler Auto Group, right, and Team Zeigler is to the Portage and Kalamazoo community. I was instantly like, hey, I'm sure they're gonna want to do something. Let's just go at this head on together, and everybody just wants to help, and it's super cool to drive for Kalamazoo County's tornado relief, right? They came to you the same thing, right? Like we all three wanted to do something, and all three had the same idea, and they say great minds think alike, right? And just really just want to help people in this community, because it's a little town that's pretty strong and pretty big, right? And that's how I've looked. I don't like big cities and everything, and I mean, truthfully, if I could bring Portage to North Carolina, or bring North Carolina to Michigan, right? Just at least the race part with the race shops and everything. It would be my match made in heaven. But no, I'm excited to do that. Obviously, raise a lot of money, have fun at motorsports, and have a good time. Obviously, that's going to be the most important part, is raising the money, but also too, it'll be a lot of fun to have a good time and do it right in a fun way, because I know Team Zeigler always knows how to have a good time.
There's no doubt about that. So you'll be there. You're actually bringing the Zeigler.com wrapped Camaro. So it's a Camaro that looks exactly like the race, or the car that you ran at our first race there at Talladega. People get a chance to see that, to get your autograph, get a picture in front of it. And there's two options. You can donate $100, come to the gala. We'll have appetizers. We'll have a cash bar. Or you can donate a couple $100, $200, and you get rights to the first diecast cars. It's the first edition, first run diecast cars of the 77 Zeigler.com car. And Carson, you've agreed to and volunteered to autograph that car for anyone. And then I think your team is also working on some silent auction or open auction items that we can raffle off to raise money. So I don't know what's in store. I don't know if you have any announcements on that. That's probably up to Kelly, but I know you're bringing some things, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we're still looking at and trying to make it all right. I think it'd be more exciting, right, to just see all these things on the table, but I'm sure, we'll have a lot of fun things and things worth giving, right, or wanting to get. But most importantly, knowing it's all going to go to a good cause, right? Allows everybody to really be open and give their hard-earned money to people that really, really need it, right?
Yeah. All right, let's transition away from the tornado, because we'll have time to talk more about that on June 5th. We're excited to see you then. And let's go to this past weekend, the All-Star race. You talk to us about the race, how it went. The headlines for that race are nothing but the Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fight. So you've got to tell us a little bit about your perspective on that. But talk to us about how you view the race this past weekend.
Yeah, it was good. So they tried a handful of different things. Something really new to NASCAR was, a lot of people are starting to get into F1, right, with that new Netflix series and stuff. And F1, they have all these different tire compounds, and NASCAR kind of dabbled in it this week and had two different tire compounds. They had a hard and a soft. So they did that and tried to just create a little bit different dynamic during the race. But also, too, it has a lot of different, unknowns for us. And in practice, I thought we were super fast. We were top 10, top 15, and feeling really good about our car. But that was in the heat of the day. There was a lot of rain that came in. There was 4 inches of rain on Saturday that came in 2 hours. So there was all rain, cleaned all that rubber off. And track was just a little different, and our balance was a little off, that we needed to run top 2, but we ran up to 5th to 6th kind of all day, and felt like we definitely learned and can take stuff out of it. And I didn't see the Ricky fight and whatnot, but it was definitely interesting. I mean every person there within a half-mile radius had their iPhone out taking it. So, I mean, there's
Yes.
plenty that you could imagine how it would have been being there and standing there, because you could find every which angle you can get of that fight.
Yeah. And it's pretty unique because family members were involved, right? And some pretty significant penalties handed down today as of Wednesday, May 22nd.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is there was so many crew guys involved. NASCAR really steps in once. They don't want brawls as the biggest thing, and especially like in the garage area, it's hard for them to control. If it was on pit road, I think the penalties probably would be less or whatnot. I obviously don't know, but I know just for dirt racing, like the Chili Bowl, they have a no fight rule up the ramp, which means no fights in the pit area because they can't control and they can't contain the brawl. They actually have like a hockey rule, like they say if you want to fight, park your car in the front stretch and get out and fight one-on-one, and once you land on the ground, we'll pick you up and you can be on your merry way. But the second you fight in the pit area, you're just gonna be banned for life. Like that's their rule. Like they said, NASCAR is a little different, right? Local, huge dirt race, but fans, there's very few people that get a VIP pass where, in Chili Bowl or dirt events, people could get pit passes and whatnot. And, some drunk fans, some drunk sponsor, anybody can just throw a straight punch. And then their officials are, their safety's at risk too. They're trying to pull off. Nobody realizes they're official. They swing before they look. And so I think that's really where NASCAR was at in their mind, of just trying to contain a brawl. Obviously you have family members throwing fists at drivers and throwing crew members put drivers in headlocks. I know that's rule number one, that crew members cannot get involved unless they basically don't even want you to break it up. Your hands are basically as far up as you can be if you're a crew guy.
Yeah. That's super interesting because from a fan perspective, and maybe you shouldn't comment on this, but from a fan perspective, you feel like fighting is a little, like, it adds some flavor to the sport, and it's ugly in the moment, but it creates drama, which then leads the news. And I've always, I guess, kind of assumed that that's not completely discouraged, but it's probably not good. I mean, you don't want somebody to get hurt, I guess, right? So
yeah, I mean, sport, right? The first race that was televised, there was a fight that instantly went to mainstream, right? I don't watch every other sport, but if NHL has a really good fight, everybody knows about it, right? Even the non-NHL fans. There's a bench clearing in baseball.
Yeah.
Knows about it. It just creates a lot of attention. If it happens every week, but the last time anybody even threw a fist has been over a year in all three series, Truck, Xfinity, Cup. So it's not like it's happening every week, right?
No.
I remember watching the NHL game or whatever, and I wasn't watching the NHL, but I watched the highlights on Twitter because it went viral that they dropped the puck and everybody put their gloves down and the whole lineup just started fighting, like all five of them. I've never seen anything like that, right? And it's just and I think NASCAR is the same way. They probably don't want to step in, but when it becomes a brawl, I feel like then that's where they draw the line. If it's kind of like you saw like Ross and Noah last year, and there were no penalties there. There's different circumstances, and they can kind of do what they want, right? So
So this weekend you turn to Charlotte. It's your race, Zeigler.com car. You're back in the Zeigler colors. We're excited to have you race that car. What are your expectations? What's your take on this weekend's race?
Yeah, I feel good about it. So we've done a lot of sim time and preparing and getting this car right. 600 miles, but there's 4 stages. There's a lot of points on the line, and a huge race. But more than anything, it's a big day for motorsports with the Monaco F1 race, the Indy 500, and then the Coke 600. That there's a lot of eyes just on motorsports. So we want to run really well, and this, especially at home, everybody wants to run well at Charlotte because all your crew guys, they get to bring their families out. Obviously, it's Memorial Day weekend. There's a lot of ties to our military. Every race car has a military member on their nameplate and on their windshield. So everybody wants to run really well. And, I've always ran well at Charlotte in truck and Xfinity growing up in the last few years. And it's really fun racetrack. You move around a lot of options, and 600 miles, that's a lot of rubber. That's a lot of different track conditions. That's a lot of different restarts, a lot of different pit stops to be able to make adjustments. So we feel really confident about our race car, and obviously want to give Team Zeigler a really good run that, just starts to push as, I know Team Zeigler this kind of jump starts the stretch races that we'll have together. So we want to the momentum off right.
Yeah, so in fact, thinking about the next several races with us, so Charlotte, May 26th, then we go to Madison, Illinois, near St. Louis, and then we'll actually be with you out of the Cup Series in Berlin. That's a Michigan race. We've got one June 12th, one August 7th, where you'll run a little bit of a different type of car, but with the Cup Series colors on it anyway. June 30th, you go to Nashville. We're excited for July 7th over that July 4th week end in Chicago. Indy, July 21st. And then we come home to Michigan at MIS on the 18th of August, and then round out the year at Homestead. So there's a lot of racing ahead. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch you race. Tell us a little bit about Berlin. What's that all about? That's something some of our Western Michigan team members will get the opportunity to attend.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. It's just a local short track that has the facility like a Cup racetrack. They actually took the grandstands from 3 and 4 that used to be in the corner from MIS, Michigan International Speedway, and brought them over to Berlin and built suites. And they have a lot of connections with NASCAR. Jeff Striegel, that he really takes pride in how that facility is ran and is a lot of fun. But there's a big money race, late model, that I grew up. I cut my teeth at Berlin, and I'm sure a lot of race fans know or have heard about Berlin. It's up in Marne, near Grand Rapids, and a lot of fun. The racetrack's super worn out, super odd. I always just wonder the story of how these racetracks get designed. Are these accidents that they're so odd? Were they planned? Was anybody just like, yeah, let's? If you look at it from from a GPS or satellite or above, there's no straightaway. It is the weirdest racetrack almost in the country. It makes it really racy and a lot of fun. I'm excited to have Team Zeigler, and our car, our lake model, will look exactly like the Cup car, really similar to that street Camaro that Team Zeigler put together. So it'll be a lot of fun, but also too, NASCAR Cup Series has a lot more responsibilities, right? There's a lot more appearances, a lot more introductions, a big, huge drivers meeting, a little harder to interact and engage. And I'm excited for Berlin just because it's, the local level, and, it's a lot more laid back per se that I think Zeigler was going to try and get a party deck. So,
we'll be there both dates, both in June and August.
So that'd be great to have everybody out and come out and have a good time. And, you're right at the racetrack, right? That party deck is literally right in turn 2. So a lot of action is right there in your face. So I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. And Team Zeigler, perfect. Just Team Zeigler as a whole is a party deck, it seems.
Yes.
Everybody knows how to have a good time. So I can only imagine, how much fun everybody's going to be having.
We know how to work together, we know how to compete together, and then we know how to celebrate together. And speaking of celebrating and other things that are up and coming, so on the 5th of June, we'll be together at the Zeigler Motorsports, raising funds for the tornado. But then on the 6th, you come with us over to Autobahn in Joliet, Illinois for our Zeigler Technicians President's Club. And we're excited to have you there for that event. There's few auto groups I know of that celebrate their technicians like we celebrate technicians. And you'll be able to drive alongside our top technicians across the Zeigler Auto Group, our 41 rooftops. And they get a chance or a shot at driving with a NASCAR driver. What are your thoughts of that event? And what will that be like for you?
I'm excited. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see everybody. Obviously, technicians in Team Zeigler are like gold. They're like crew chiefs. They're like our engineers. They're super valuable. Without them, we don't have a race car. And with Team Zeigler, right? Without those technicians, you don't have a Team Zeigler. Team Zeigler is not as successful. So I think it's super cool for this event, what Team Zeigler does for give back up their employees and teammates per se. That I'm excited to do that and excited to have a lot of fun and outfitting at a racetrack of all the places.
Well, and I understand. I don't know if this is breaking news or not. You may actually be bringing your girlfriend along with, and I understand she's a driver. So what are the odds we pit her against you on the track and we have you guys go around a few laps? How would that turn out, Carson?
Well, if she's listening, she'd probably win. But no, it'd be a lot of fun. We actually, Luke, my crew chief, his wife Jamie, and my girlfriend Peyton are actually competing in the Better Half Dash next week, and so they've been practicing at this go-kart place right next door to
nice.
Right to the shop. So right at our shop.
She'll kick your butt, man.
And so it's been really fun to see. They bring out the NASCAR has this Better Half Dash, which everybody's girlfriends or wives, race crew chiefs, drivers, mechanics, whatever. They get to come race and have a good time. It's gonna be on Fox and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun to teach her. She's a racer herself, late models and everything, but it's fun to just continue to teach her. She doesn't get to race a whole lot lately just because she had to undergo some cancer treatments and stuff, and plenty okay now, and just getting through that, but she's a little rusty, and so that's been a lot of fun to knock her dust off, and she's gotten just as fast as me at the go-kart track and super competitive, so I can only imagine.
So to set the stage... To set the stage at Autobahn, the last event of the day is a go-kart race. So we tell her to come ready, and we'll put you in a cart, her, and then all the technicians. What's your prediction? We put 20 technicians with you and her on the course. You may need a strategy with the techs to spin her out, or maybe she'll collude with the techs to spin you out, and we'll have some real NASCAR drama at the Autobahn.
I was just say, when it comes to go-karts, I feel like, especially with that many, it's only a matter of the winner of it would be the only one that didn't go around at one point. But
yes.
But I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. It already sounds like a lot of fun. I'm already looking forward to it. But like everything, Team Zeigler finds a way to have a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying every second of it. So I'm excited to get out there, and especially too, just between the Autobahn and it sounds like the go-kart race. There's too much fun to be had, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, we'll have a good time. We're excited to have you bring your perspective from NASCAR back to Portage, Michigan for this fundraiser, and then join us in Joliet at the Autobahn to celebrate our technicians the best of. We appreciate your time with us today. Carson Hocevar, crush it this weekend on the track with the Zeigler.com car. Any final parting messages to Team Zeigler and our podcast public, Carson?
Yeah, no, I just appreciate Team Zeigler as always. Hopefully rep the colors very well. The warranty cheetah is still on the helmet, so ride.
I love it.
Loud this weekend, but more than anything, looking forward to Wednesday, June 5th at Motorsports, and then June 6th over in Illinois. So it'll be a lot of fun, a lot of big things coming up, and starts off here at Charlotte in just a couple days.
A big thanks to Carson for contributing to this week's episode. Be sure to join us Wednesday, June 5th at Motorsports for the Tornado Relief event. Check out the show notes for links to the event. And until next week, how are you driving vision today?